Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on the Rundown, 2A views, conservative news. Craig, it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday, Friday, Friday. I still love that movie. I actually watched it a couple of weeks ago, and I got to tell you, my favorite character on there is Leatherman.
Leatherman. Yes, yes.
I like to dance.
Classic movie. It's no DC Cap, but it's a good movie.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But it's anyway. I very much enjoy it. So, how was your weekend beginnings thus far, sir?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just left Lion Arms meeting there with Crown Majesty cigar people. So it's a good start to the weekend.
Hey, are they going to be? They're going to be at Shot.
Lion Arms will be at Shot. Yes, they will.
Excellent. So looking forward to hanging out with them. I hope they'll make it out to the SHOT Show party.
Yep. 1 month, Craig. 1 month until we hit the ground there.
Telling you folks, if you are anywhere near Vegas or if you can get to Vegas, one, this is a party that you will not want to miss. But secondly, just, SHOT in general. There will be tons of stuff, tons of people to hang out. Even if you're not at SHOT, there's plenty of stuff to be had, plenty of opportunities to have a good time.
Yeah, it's
that is
party. Chicks and guns and fire trucks, man. It's going to be that kind of party.
I don't even know what to say.
That's a movie quote. Let's see if you can figure out the movie.
No. I know news stories about chicks and fire trucks, though. I've seen news stories, and it wasn't good.
Guns and fire trucks, and yeah, that was it's a Tom Hanks movie, actually. Yeah.
Oh, Bachelor Party?
Yep.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Yep.
Wow, I can't believe I remember. Of course, that's the only movie that he's done where I would think that line would work.
Yeah, probably not in Saving Private Ryan. I don't think it would have worked in there.
No, not in The Green Mile.
Not in The Green Mile. What about in Castaway?
In a moment of dementia, maybe. When he's talking with Wilson and he's talking about what they're going to do when they get back to civilization, then I could see it.
Yeah, that might have worked there. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I could see that line there.
Yeah. What about Philadelphia? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Forrest Gump? No?
Not by him.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not.
All right, Mike. Hey, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors before we get started.
Yeah, let's say hello to our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. You got yourself an AR in the past 5 years or so. You probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. I know Lion Arms does, right? Now you can reach out and buy your own barrel from them direct for your next build or to rebarrel your current rifle. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, if you want to be involved in what's going to happen in tomorrow's political landscape in California, then you need to get on with California's Republican Assembly. If you've got some awesome field gear, tactical gear, web gear, and you want to wear it out at hunting, well, you need to go to uscombatgear.com. You get the best kind of gear you can get. And of course, it's not too late. There's still time. We're at the 10-day mark. You can get yourself some awesome gifts, some tactical holsters, some concealed holsters from hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces.
Folks, these are our sponsors. These are the folks who bring us to you in the hopes that we'll bring you to them. So do us a favor, make us look good. Visit them. All you got to do is click on the links in the description of this program. Check them out. If you like what you see, spend some money with them and make sure that you tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. Also, if you have not already done so, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. There are tons of ways to watch us. You can now actually watch us on Twitter via Periscope. So if you got Twitter, you can watch us. You can watch us on OpsLens. You can watch us on Spotify. You can watch us on Rumble. You name it, you can watch us. And if you just want to listen, well, wherever you get your podcast, your audio podcast, you can set it so it'll automatically download the podcast, whether it's Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, once again, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, trust me, you will find us. But whatever you do, make sure that you listen. Make sure that you partake and encourage your friends to do the same.
Please partake.
It's okay. I know, we're addicting, but it's okay.
You're a what?
Addicting.
Oh,
Addicting.
Gotcha. Okay. Just checking.
Mr. Potty Mouth over here. All right, we're going to move over. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start. Coming from the good state of California. That's right, California is the place you ought to be. Because we got Gavin Newsom and we got reparations coming to y'all. That's right, Governor Gavin Newsom. So we had this reparations task force that was created here in the state of California. That was in order to discuss the concept of reparations. Well, now, as a result of it, they wanted to continue discussions, but Gavin Newsom said, nope, he vetoed a bill in order to continue it. He said, nope, it's time to hand out checks. And as such, California is advancing its goal in order to send reparations to black residents. Now, it doesn't even necessarily mean citizens, but to black residents. Now, he wants to send $223,000 to every black Californian who qualifies, right? We're going to see these details of exactly what qualifies means. But then you have another activist who's saying, no, it should be $350K per person. I guess whether they qualify or not. So in other words, I guess, Mike, as someone who doesn't live in California and it probably does not qualify as black, all you have to do really is identify as a black Californian, and you too can get $350,000 from Gavin Newsom.
Well, I mean, according to the California rules, right? As long as they identify as such, then you qualify, right? That would seem to make sense. So,
well, seeing as how you are both transracial and transcontinental, I think you would qualify.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I
transcoastal.
Right,
I'm sorry, transcoastal.
I'm curious, Craig, because I sent this to you. I actually sent this to you as a human interest story. Make sure you get your check. I want to make sure you get that coming to you. But where does the state of California believe it's going to get, depending on whether it's 223 million or 223,000 or 350,000? Where do they think they're going to get this $2.23 billion or this $3.5 billion?
They're going to be taking it from me, the taxpayer. And mind you, this is a state that went from like a 200. I mean, we had a huge surplus last year, right?
Right.
We went from like something. I don't even. I hate to. I'm sorry.
I did the math wrong. It's $350 billion. $350 billion. There you go.
Right, $350 billion. Well, considering the fact that we are estimated to have a $25 billion deficit next year, I'm really wondering where exactly this money is going to come from.
Probably the Brandon money tree, right? That seems like where California gets all their money.
Yes. Now, California does have a balanced budget, meaning we can't run a deficit. So we've actually got to balance the books somehow. I'm guessing that since over 50% of the budget goes to education as a whole, higher education, K-12 and K-12 education, I'm guessing a good chunk of that money is going to come from there.
Well, them kids got all that money. They won't need to go to school, right? They could just buy their futures.
Well, you got a nice sized family. You can invest that money and live off the interest.
There you go. Right. It's not going to be hookers and blow at all with that stuff.
Well, I and here's the thing, man. I get that one of the things they do is they look at the model as the Japanese reparations, but the reality is that from the internment camps. But I get the fact that number one, those individuals were actually still alive. Number one. Number two, they did it at a time when Japan economically was very, very powerful, and there was a reason for the United States. Basically, they were sucking up to Japan because they were buying and purchasing more and more property and companies here in the United States. It was basically at a point where they didn't need the reparations, which is why, in fact, they got them. And finally, I just find it odd that a state that never had slavery is making people who never owned slaves pay money to people who never were slaves.
Well, I mean, they want to be included in the party, right? That's the whole thing. They want to be included in the party. Craig, there was only 120,000 Japanese American citizens that went to the involved in the internment camps, as opposed to the over 1 million in California that they believe are African American descent enough to qualify for this. So 10 times the amount we're looking at here.
Yeah, and I will be the first to say, I don't know that America has ever really truly reckoned with, apologized for, or made right the whole issue of slavery. I don't know that you can. I really honestly don't know that you can, except to continue to be honest as we teach our history and talk about slavery. I really just don't know that you in fact can. But I think that this idea of reparations is not a good idea. I think it does nothing more than create additional division. It promotes racism because, once again, you have people who literally in the state that had nothing to do with slavery who are going to wind up paying reparations, to people who were never slaves.
True. And listen, as far as apologies goes, I'm pretty sure things like the Emancipation Proclamation, Marbury versus Madison, Brown versus Board of Education. Those are pretty good ways that the American government admitted its fault and said it's time to apologize.
Yes and no. I mean, those were simply righting wrongs, and that righting wrongs in the law. And those are things that, quite frankly, should have happened. I once again, I don't think it's a big deal, and I don't put it on any one group of people. I'm just saying the reparations ain't it. It really isn't. I just think continuing to be honest about what happened and who we are. That's what we do. That's how we do it. And I think the changes that we are making culturally. I mean, like I said, my father, who went through World War II, got out of the military, fully trained electrician, couldn't get a job as an electrician because he couldn't join the electricians union because his father wasn't a member of the union. Now, mind you, his father was an electrician, but they also didn't allow black people at that time to become members of the electric workers union.
Exactly. Yeah, listen, it's our original sin carried on for years and years and years.
Yeah.
What, Craig? I'm curious. What are the qualification standards for this payout?
I have not seen the exact, because that's what they're still working on. They're still working on exactly what those qualifications are going to be. Gotcha. So they're still trying to settle that. Anyway, the point that I was making, Mike, is that what my father went through, and he was a World War II vet, what he went through, those were roadblocks, right? Compared to what he went through, what I went through was barely more than a speed bump. And my son, not even a rock in the road, right? And his children after him, it will be even further removed. And so I think the best thing that we can do to make things right is to continue to do what we are doing and going the direction that we are going as a nation. Not this whole but the anti-racism movement is the most racist movement we have seen since Jim Crow and segregation.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely right.
Anyway, that's just my perspective. All right. Moving on along to our next story. Biden, okay, so we're about to come up against the end of, what is it, Title 42, Mike? What's it called? Something 42, where that basically says because of COVID, you can keep people in Mexico when they're applying for asylum. I forget what it's called. But you have a federal judge now, because at the same time that this is about to be released, and you've got people, leftists like Gavin Newsom saying, look, we got to figure this out. We've got to figure out what we're going to do, because it's going to be a wave of people in a post 42 world. It's been estimated that because of that, this is the COVID restrictions that kept people applying for asylum in Mexico, the ones that we caught.
Yeah.
Because of that, that kept like 2 million immigrants out of the United States. That's 2 million more on top of the 5 million that have already come in. Well, prior to that, we had this thing called stay and remain in Mexico policy, right? This was Trump. This was a Trump era policy that basically said, yeah, even if you are applying for asylum, you have to stay in Mexico while your application is processed. Now, what I'm wondering, Mike, is now this federal judge says that he can't end it yet, but I'm wondering, do we need this? Was it Title 42? Do we even need that if we just simply implement re-implement the stay in Mexico policy?
You're correct. It is Title 42. No, Craig, I don't believe we do. I think Title 42 doesn't. We would not need it at all if we just reinstated or went back to full force on the remain in Mexico policy. I mean, listen, it'd be one thing, Craig, if we said, listen, you got to remain in Mexico, and you're standing there while the tyrants of Mexico, the oppressors in Mexico, are standing there at the gate, beating them and whipping them. But that's not what's going on. These are people that are not running from that kind of physical abuse or corruption. They simply want to come here for a better life, which again, nothing opposed to people coming here for a better life, just to do it the right way and immigrate properly.
Well, I can't, without having the numbers in front of me, I believe, but I am not sure. You cannot say that a majority of the people, but a huge percentage, at a minimum, a huge plurality of the people that are coming across our southern border are not even Mexican. So these are people who entered Mexico from another country, right? These are people from Haiti, people from Cuba, people from Venezuela, people from Africa, people from the Middle East. I mean, all coming across our southern border. And so they've already got asylum in Mexico. So why do they then need to be in the United States in order to apply for asylum here in the United States?
Well, they want to come to the promised land, right? Mexico might be nice, and it may not be the horribleness that they had in their own country, but Mexico's not where they wanted. That's just the kickoff point for them. That's just the entry corridor for them. So they want to continue to come the rest of the way. And that's, again, just back to the point originally made earlier. They're no longer facing the oppressive, tyrannical government that they fled from. Now they're standing there in Mexico just waiting to come the final step.
Well, exactly. But once again, I find it interesting that no one is talking about and putting these two things together. That, look, you don't need Title 42 if you simply implement the Remain in Mexico policy, right? No one is in fact talking about that. And quite frankly, I think they need to be talking about that. They need to be pointing to that. I don't know. I don't understand why they're not. But that would partially be, well, here's the reason. One of the reasons why it would be is because the Biden administration wants open borders. The Biden administration is not fighting to keep Title 42 in place. So not only are they not fighting to keep Title 42 in place, they are also fighting to end the stay in Mexico policy. So let's be clear. Our southern border is not secure, number one. We know this. And number two, the Biden administration is for open borders, period. There's no argument that anyone can make, no rational argument based on the policies of this administration that would say any different.
No, absolutely not. We know that the border is completely open. We talked about Arizona yesterday, and Governor Ducey down there has the container wall that he's built over the open portions of the Mexico border, and the incoming Democrat governor has already said that she plans to take those down, remove those. So it's going to again create another funnel effect over there in Arizona that they've tended to figure out that Texas is still dealing with. So it's going to be another giant influx of illegal immigrants coming across the border.
Yep, most definitely. And sadly, what gets me the most is that this administration consistently says, "What? No, we are not welcoming people to the border. We're not telling people to come here. Just we're saying come to the border. Come to the border right now. I mean, don't come to the border. Don't come to the border." Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. All right, now this next one. One of the things we do whenever we're going somewhere to any show, any of the shows that we're doing. I mean, I fly regularly, and I'm always checking a firearm. There's a process that you go through in order to check in your firearm at an airline, and the idea being that you are telling them that you have a gun in your checked luggage, not so much because they think you're going to find a way down into the baggage area to get your gun, but so that they make sure they track that bag, know where it is, track that firearm, know where it is, and know that it does not go missing. Well, that's with the exception of one particular gentleman, a Georgia man, who says he was flying from Denver, and, let's just be real, Mike, they lost his gun. And several days afterwards, he's still trying to find his checked baggage, and he is getting absolutely no help, no assistance from the folks who were supposed to be keeping an eye on this bag.
Listen, we know right up front, Craig, that the airlines doesn't care. They don't care if your baggage gets there. They barely care if you get there. We know they don't care if you get there on time. It's ridiculous what the airlines puts individuals through that pay for the right, pay for the privilege of passage on their carrier. Craig, when we saw this story, I think one of the highlights I want to point out for folks is what to do when carrying a firearm, maybe to prevent your firearm from being stolen. I know I worked one of the career fields I was in, dealing with baggage, things moving in and out of seaports, airports, those kinds of things with the domestic security stuff. And there's some things that folks you should look out for. Now, I know that when you read all the TSA nonsense and when you read all of the airline stuff, they want you to stick your firearm in like a Pelican case, right? A perfectly designed gun case of certain measures with locks and everything all over it. Listen, all that does is make you a target for theft. All right. If you have a regular suitcase, you take a regular suitcase, one that you can put your little tiny lock on it, even if it's a vinyl suitcase or not a hard-sided suitcase. You buy yourself one of those little metal gun boxes, put it in there, you lock and secure that, and you're allowed to put that inside your regular suitcase with just a little tiny lock on it. And you know what that looks like when it comes out of the conveyor belt, Craig? It looks like every other bag on there. In fact, you and I together have done this. I've traveled and taken my hard case, my Pelican case, and used that for radio and broadcast equipment. And I put the gun in my regular case and my regular suitcase. And my regular suitcase comes down on the conveyor belt, and all the high value, gear inside my Pelican case goes to special treatment. It's a Pelican case, so there must be a gun in there. So they send that into the baggage office, and I've got to go there and get that case back. So all you're doing is advertising. The second little tip I'll tell you, because guess what? Not everybody that works at an airport is the most honest person.
Well, it's funny you say that, Mike, because I do kind of the same exact thing, except when I'm taking my camera gear somewhere, I take my camera gear in a carry-on. I actually have a special size Pelican case where I can carry my camera, both of my cameras, my sound equipment and everything, and then I've got my laptop in my backpack. I carry all of my gear on the plane, which is funny because people look at me when I'm rolling with my Pelican case and they think I'm carrying guns onto the plane. But you're right when you talk about advertising. They think I'm carrying guns on the plane, and my guns are in my checked luggage, my regular suitcase that's going on the plane, locked up in there in a secure case.
Yeah. So the other little tip to do, Craig, is you have to put your name tag on there that identifies your bag, who it belongs to.
Yeah.
Put your name on there, and put your email address maybe, or your cell phone number. That's it. I probably would even put my cell phone number on it, because the area code will tend to give away where you're from. So just put an email address on there and your name. That way, when the nefarious that work there, those that are not so up and honest, when they see a bag come through and they look at it and it has, let's say you're traveling through Denver, where this story's from. If you have a Denver address on there, they're not going to steal from your bag, because they know you're going to be coming back to Denver and have no problem meeting with the Denver police to follow up and do your reports. But if you got stickers that you're a world traveler on there, and you got a Miami address on there, guess what? Your bag is a prime target, because they know you're not coming back more than likely to Denver to just file a police report. So don't let your bag be identified as what location you live in as well.
God, I wonder if that undersecretary who just got fired from the from the Biden administration, I wonder if he has this guy's gun.
Yeah, you know what? There you go. Scooby-Doo mystery solved right there.
It all depends on if there were women's clothing in the bag.
Well, you remember at the end of Scooby-Doo, it would always be the old man dressed as a woman. There you go. It's this guy.
Mike, your logic is odd, yet hard to argue with.
Flawless is the word you're looking for, Craig.
Flawless. Flawless victory. Speaking of a flawless victory, there's nothing better than when a woketivist is checked in public. It makes my heart sing, because there is so much hypocrisy out there with those on the left, in that they think they are better than everybody else. They I don't want to put this. They just go out of their way to act like, oh well, I've done nothing wrong. They are the paragon of virtue and righteousness. And in this particular case, you had a woketivist who was part of a panel that was talking about threats to democracy. And you had a member of the committee actually shared a tweet from this specific person who was talking about the dangers on social media. She was talking about the dangers of social media, because of rhetoric on social media. And this is how she got clowned.
Is rhetoric on social media a problem and a threat to our democracy, Mr. Ward?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Caraballo?
Yes.
Only a few weeks after the attempted attack on a Supreme Court justice on June 25th, one of the witnesses, Alejandra Caraballo, tweeted out the following in response to a decision on abortion overturning Roe v. Wade, and I'll quote directly from the tweet: "The 6 justices who overturned Roe should never know peace again. It is our civic duty to accost them every time they're in public. They are pariahs. Since women don't have their rights, these justices should never have a peaceful moment in public again." I know something about being accosted. The night of January 5th, I was physically accosted on the streets of D.C. in Navy Yard by a constituent of mine. I fervently blamed rhetoric on social media, rhetoric at public events, for being physically accosted. I carry a gun everywhere I go when I am in my district and I'm at home, because I know personally that rhetoric has consequences.
So, Mike, now, how ironic is it that this person thinks that making a threat like that, I mean, that's literally just like they should be accosted, the specific word, accosted, wherever they go. And this is a person who is there, asked by Democrats to come and testify about the dangerousness of rhetoric on the internet.
Yeah, it's funny, and that person, like she said, there was Alejandro Caraballo, and during the questioning there, that goes on from this, Craig. She says, "Well, I was my statements were misrepresented. And Miss Mace there goes, well, which part of the statement here is misrepresented? Because this says exactly this, and I don't understand how that's misrepresented. How is "they shall never know peace again" misrepresented? And it was a very nice a smackdown right there in front of this committee for all to see.
I will just say this. I don't. Well, I do ask that everybody agree with me. That's beside the point. My thing is this: it's okay for you to disagree with me, right? You have a right to disagree with me, just as I have a right to disagree with you. But my disagreement does not amount to violence or accosting you. You don't get to shut down my right to free speech just because you disagree with me. It was funny. I put out a message today because I was doing I was doing an interview last week, and the person started off by saying I was talking about this document that they disagreed, the host disagreed with, but called it white supremacy. And I'm like, look, just because you disagree with something and you really don't have a logical argument against it, doesn't mean it's white supremacy. Doesn't mean it's danger or dangerous.
Yeah, and I believe I actually asked you a question on there. I don't think I ever heard back from you. Who was the white supremacist? You or them? I don't understand what you were trying to say.
Evidently, the ideas presented in the document were an example of white supremacy. And because I was advocating for them, that must have made me a white supremacist. At least the Italian half of me was clearly the white supremacist in that particular case.
So the paper was the true white supremacist. So this paper was out there causing harm to people.
Yes, yes. The paper and those who wrote it, which, by the way, were black people.
Bunch of white supremacist black peoples.
I know. Well, like Larry Elder, when he ran for governor, he was called the black face of white supremacy.
Okay. All right.
And they get away with stuff. That's what gets me. The left gets away with racist crap like this. And I'm sorry, I don't care what you say. That is racist. That is racist. Period. To say that because I disagree with you, to say that because I believe in individual rights and individual responsibility, because I believe in free enterprise and the free market, because I believe in traditional family values, I'm a white supremacist? Go jump in a lake, you moron.
Yeah, a non-racist, no bars hold lake.
Right.
Just a regular lake, not a white supremacist lake.
But here's the racist part, Mike. Mike, the racist part is like, you had the nerve to leave the plantation. Massa ain't too happy with you, so I'm gonna make sure Massa happy with me. So I'm gonna make sure that I put you in your place.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what it sounds like. I mean,
that's exactly what it sounds like. For those, if y'all got an issue with it, you all know where to find me.
That's it. Right. Yeah.
Just remember, you got to bring some to get some.
That's it. Bring friends too. Bring friends.
Bring friends. Bring friends. Anyway. So it was nice to see. It was very, very nice to see that smackdown. And now, Mike, we're going to move on to our parting shots of the day. You want to go ahead and give a shout out to the host or the sponsor of our parting shots?
Hog Holsters, HAWG holsters.com. That's hogholsters.com. Best concealment holsters you're going to get. Veteran owned and operated. Everyone handmade by this former Marine, John. Is get over there and get you some holsters. HAWG holsters. There's still time to get them before Christmas. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word. Make it happen.
Folks, these folks right here, they offer a quality product, and I'm really hoping that you will take advantage of this deal that they are offering you and utilize that rundown, that discount code. Use it. Trust me, you will not regret it. All right, our first parting shot comes to us from via the Babylon Bee. It's a lot of fun, and I think you'll get it as soon as you see it. The government warns that with Elon Musk owning Twitter, they will only control 97% of media.
That's very accurate. It's very accurate. Yeah, I thought it was 87%, but it's actually 97%. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly what other sources they're looking at. There are the ones that they control and the ones that they have control over. I guess I don't know, but
That's true. See, that means there's 3% left over, which means that Twitter is probably 2.9996%, and you and I are 0.0004%.
okay. This next one kind of caught me, and I'm trying to figure this one out. And this was one that was sent out by the U.S. Ministry of Truth. I love this. It says that it says breaking. Journalists have officially been added as a stripe to the pride flag. And my question is, which one are they?
Yeah, which one? Maybe the orange one? I don't
know. But
the green? Maybe? No?
the blue? How about the blue?
What's the journalist? I don't know. What color are the journalists? Well, it's probably yellow because aren't all journalists yellow?
They are. It is referred to as yellow journalism. So I will give it to them. Anyway, I just found that one to be funny. Yep. For no particular reason other than it was funny. And then finally, around this time of year, there are going to be plenty of opportunities to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. But we wanted to pass along this message from Pfizer. Merry Christmas from Pfizer. You want to describe this one for the folks who are listening?
Is that if you get too many vaccines, or is that from the Viagra?
that's. I don't think that's from the Viagra.
All right. I'm just checking. Maybe if you mix them, I don't know.
There are some folks I know who do not resemble that.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Folks, listen. I send Craig multiple Christmas memes every day for the show, and he deems they're not acceptable for you. So, if you're wanting more, reach out to Craig at craig@craig.com.
No. What you need to do is reach out to Mike Pilwarski. You can reach out to him on Facebook when he's not suspended, when he's not in Facebook jail. And trust me, he will share all of his dirty memes with you. This is a family show.
They're funny. It's a First Amendment position to use humor as a way to oppose our tyrants.
If that's what you want to call it, Mike.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with it.
Dude, it's a good thing I like you. It really is. It's a good thing I like you. And with that, Mikey, how about we give a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Yep, let's say good day and good week to our good friends there at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. They've got rifle and pistol calibers available and rifle and pistol lengths. Hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Get involved in California's future today at the California Republican Assembly. And for some awesome field gear, combat gear, tactical gear, hunting gear, hiking gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
Once again, these are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Visit them by following the links in the description of this program. Make sure you tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, this episode will be a wrap. We very much appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encourage your friends to do the same. Not tomorrow. It's Friday. So Monday, we will be back with you on Monday. Now, while a lot of folks in media will be taking the next 2 weeks off, we will not. We will be here. We will be having a good time. This is a good time. I don't know about for Mike, but this is a good time for me. So we have a good time here. We have a good time with you. So make sure, let your folks know. Instead of listening to those reruns or the best ofs of these, these other folks, tell them to tune in right here to The Rundown. They'll be addicted, kind of like you are.
Listen, I will work throughout the holidays, Craig, but I don't work on January the 8th because that's Elvis's birthday.
Oh, talk to you later.